Hello, thanks for tuning in and welcome to the pool party. I hope you can swim because we're definitely diving into the deep end with a huge splash of truth, facts, evidence, information, and proof. Swim. Say what you mean. It's talk about talking. How we listen, how we hear, how we speak, how we hear what we're listening to when we speak, how a listener hears what we're saying, if what we're saying, what they're actually hearing and or understanding. Is it clear? Swim. Say what you mean. Well, that's just the beginning of understanding, because after we get that understanding, how do we accept it? How we respond if it's not what we expect is paramount. Are you okay with the truth? Are you man, woman, human, or spiritual enough to accept the truth? Let's find out. Welcome to The Swimming Pool with your host, Travis Bridges.
Bam! Good evening, everybody, and welcome to The Swimming Pool. Hey, where did he go? Well, he didn't go anywhere. He's right here. But he's got to wait until the words go off the screen and we can at least see the bottom of the swimming pool so that we can get the fullness of, the title of the live stream, podcast / internet show, whatever you want to call it. It's called SWIM, SWIM. That is the acronym for Say What You Mean. I is your boy, B-O-I, Travis Bridges. And I am not going to be before you live long. I do have something canned that I did a long time ago that I'm kind of sort of reheating. You ever have leftovers? You reheat something from the day before or a couple days before and it's still good. Well, I pulled something from something that I did probably a couple of years ago, and it's kind of relevant to what I'm going to talk about today, or tonight in this case. Here's hoping you're having a fantastic, wonderful week, day, and month already. We're in November, and we have one more month and some change before we are into a completely and totally different new year. And I don't know what 2023 was for you, but I'm going to go ahead and say, for me, it was a process. And I'm not sad that it's leaving, especially with some of the things that I am anticipating that's coming up in 2024. I'm looking forward to some different things, especially starting with my way of thinking. Last week, on this very day, I had a conversation with my life coach. And boy, did she get in my face. And it was supposed to be one of those sessions that I documented and I was going to air. And I may have started it last week and had some technical improvements that I thought I would shut off and shut down because I just kind of changed my mind. It just was something that probably should have just been kept to a certain place and not necessarily any and every place. That's another story. We'll talk about it another time. But back to my point, spoke with my life coach, and she helped me to realize something. We had a discussion. I think I saved that live stream, and I probably will air it at another time. I just don't know when. I'm just not ready for it right now. But we went from talking about revenge to accountability to... No, that's two conversations. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. We went from revenge to accountability in that conversation. And then my other life coach / therapist was last night, and we had a conversation. You know, sometimes you can go through therapy sessions or you can have life coaching sessions that can last for weeks, months, and sometimes people are in therapy healing for years. But I think I got 2 doses that was more than enough for me. So on last week, I had a conversation about revenge and then accountability. But then last night, it kind of got stretched. You know how in math, they tell us, to break down, the final to the least common denominator. That means break it down to the lowest point that it can be. So after one session, I went from revenge to accountability. Last night, I realized that I could break it down a little bit more. And I went from vindication or vindicated to exonerated to just flat out saying, just forgive and maybe not forget. But there's something about all of these words, revenge, accountability, being exonerated and or vindicated, that has something to do with a level of expectation. And sometimes when we have expectations, that's the best time to get disappointed and upset. And that's what may have happened to me, and it may have happened to you. The more expectations you have, the more opportunities you have to be upset. So I'm not encouraging you not to expect something. If you plant a seed, expect it to grow and expect it to be fruitful. But as it relates to people, or there's certain things you just may not want to have high expectations for. So the title of my live stream tonight is called Focus on What? And then the answer or subtitle is Whatever You Want. And that whatever you want has two meanings, as in whatever you want or whatever you want. Being a voiceover talent myself and having some experience in radio and speaking and reading, I've learned to enunciate certain things. So in this case, I'm saying focus on what as the question, and the response being whatever you want. And what that actually translates into is focus on whatever you want. One of my friends had me to watch this documentary called The Secret many years ago, and it talked about the law of attraction. And I do believe, especially with my quantum physics friends, they do believe in the law of attraction, and I do too. I believe you can manifest certain things depending on, the kind of effort you put into it. But I do want to speak on focusing on what you want. It's kind of difficult sometimes when you have something breathing down your throat. And I'm going to talk about something that I've been able to relate to all my life, especially being an entrepreneur. There was a time when work would come whenever it got to me. And sometimes I would go 2 or 3 weeks without, work. And then like 2 weeks later, I'll get a month's worth of work, in just a few days. And there would be some times where I would have things due, something called a bill, and it would be getting really close to where something can be disrupted, like turned off, or I hate to even talk about the other ones. So fortunately, it's never happened to me to the worst degree, but I've had quite a few things threatened. But there's something about a bill that when it's either due or past due, and it's something important that you need, and you may not have the funds for whatever reason to pay it, something happens if you are the head of a household, and it's called worry. And it's natural, it's normal to have a need, and that need not be met at the time you want it to be met, to focus on that. And it's kind of difficult to be distracted when you have a 3-day warning for something to be either taken or turned off or shut down in some kind of way. But you will have those people that will say, well, don't focus on it. Focus on something different, or focus on what you want. I also believe what you resist persists. I'm not against anything that we can manifest, because I do believe the mind and the power of the tongue is very powerful. So the point I'm making is, yes, we have a choice to choose whether we're going to be happy or sad, or whether we're going to worry or stress. But sometimes it gets beyond us. And I know I'm not the only one. And I think part of what I want to talk about has to do with the strength that it takes to have a fire-breathing dragon breathing down your neck, and then you be able to focus on something different. I want to read the description of my live stream, and then I'm going to talk about it a little bit. The description is, if it was easy, everyone would be that ... means doing it or being it. So if it was easy, everyone would be it. Emotions, ego, personal preferences, and feelings are so powerful that we sometimes can't see the forest for the trees. Darkness is crafty and will indeed impair our sight, but not our vision. Only knowledge and wisdom can differentiate what feels good from and what is good. What's best is priceless. I'm grateful to have reached a new place of trusting truth, transparency, and the law of reaping and sowing. The urge to fix things beyond our control guarantees confusion. It's never easy, but if we can trust the definition of process, we can rest. Whew. It's not easy. Man, if it was, everybody would be doing it. I don't want to ever be the kind of person, especially a friend, advising someone to say, just don't think about it. Get over it. When, of course, that's the bottom line in a nutshell. When we need to get past something, the only way you can get past it is to get over it. But I want to chime in on how difficult that can be, to have something pressing or something unfavorable to be up on you, and then you say, oh, I'm just going to look the other way. And in my session last week, I talked to my caller about having a bowling ball fall on your foot and then say, oh, okay, that didn't hurt. And of course I was being extra exaggeratory on purpose, but I guess I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it or too much more time on it. Yeah, we do need to not worry about certain things for too long, but it's definitely easier said than done. Here's what I'm going to say. The first grade seems hard until you get to the second grade. Of course, after you get to second grade, you look back and say, oh, those are first graders. And by the time you get to 10th grade, you've gone through 5th, 6th, and 7th grade, 8th grade. It was hard while you're in it. But by the time you get to 12th grade and heading on your way to college, each level, becomes more easy to get through. And as opposed to telling someone who's in the 3rd grade, while I'm a 12th grader, just get over it, I'm just going to say, just get through it. And I think that would be so much more, so much better advice, But of course, sometimes you do need to get in someone's face and just tell them some things we do just need to get over and let go. But it's just not easy. And that's all I'm saying. If you are, like me and you've gone through some tough times, it's not easy. But of course, once you get past it, you look back and say, well, thank God I made it and I'm okay with that. So focus on what you want, not what you don't want. So when you have 3 days before the lights get turned off, if you for whatever reason fall behind and you just need some help with your bills, when you and your children's gonna be in the dark, I don't want to be telling you to focus on something else, but some way, somehow, if you can focus on something different, you probably will find a little more peace. And I'm just going to say, And I do have a video I'm going to play in just a few more minutes. Oh my goodness. Oh, I started at 8:15. Oh, by the way, I'm on early. So if you're tuning in to my live stream or, my therapy session, I am a little early tonight because I don't know if I'm getting old or not, but I don't want to be up at 9 o'clock, waiting for my own therapy. Time changed and, it's getting darker early and it's my favorite time of the year. I actually like it when it gets dark. I appreciate having more daylight, especially if I'm cutting grass or doing something. But I really like when it gets dark and it's time to go to bed because I'm that kind of guy who appreciates my sleep and don't mind getting up early. I just don't like going to bed late unless I have to. And as a musician, I have to a lot. So when I do get the opportunity to go to bed, good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. So I think I'm going to start coming on at 8 o'clock and I'm going to try it. So for the next few weeks, don't be surprised if you see me at 8 instead of 9. And don't really be surprised, or really don't be surprised if you see me show up at 7 or 7:30 because I don't want to wait, I just kind of want to get it done. I promise to be here for myself first. And anybody else that wants to tune in, thank you. I appreciate it. I really, really, really do. But in a nutshell, what I want to say is if and when we can find the place to let process, it's in the description, so I'm not all over the place. Let process be process. We can rest a little easy. I'm in a different place today myself, and it's all because after my therapy session last week, I decided to just, okay, come on, man, grow up, let it go. That's what I was told. Hasn't been easy, but at some point in time, you do have to let things go. And if and when you can, wow, so many other doors can and will open. I will have some more testimonies coming up in the next, few weeks. I'll just share because I think when you lighten the load, you can open the door for other great things to happen. And I'm a witness because some different things have been happening since last week and even since last night. So I was talking about last night and I went from, again, I'm going to repeat, revenge to accountability, to vindicated, to exonerated, and then just saying, okay, I don't want any of that. I just kind of want to be free. I don't want to expect anything to happen to anyone or to anything or to any circumstance or situation. Just sometimes dropping it and letting it go is never easy, but it's necessary sometimes. And I'm glad that I found that place of just moving on. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play this video after I take a little short break, and then I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really, really, really do appreciate it. There's so many other things I wanted to say, and I hope I wasn't all over the place too much. But I can side with you if you're worried about something or someone. I guess, relationships, if relationships are going bad and you got your emotions all in it, man, it's hard to just let it go. And somebody can sit on the sidelines and say, don't call them no more, let them go, or don't ask anymore for something, for someone. It's very easy to say it, but it's not easy to do it. And I think this is the nugget I'm going to close on. If you can trust any process that you know is good and best, there's a reward in that. It's very difficult. I like using the example of nutrition. Not many people can turn down some good food. Not many people can. Not many people can force themselves to get up when they don't feel like it and exercise for the sake of fitness and health and nutrition. So it's very difficult to do. However, if you've ever been a person who have survived, a better eating regimen, you'll know there's reward in it, especially if you can maintain it and be consistent. Well, that same thing happens to be true when it comes to other things we know we need to kind of leave alone. In the description, I said, when we try to fix things that are outside of our control, we are guaranteed confusion. Sometimes we just have to really step back, not allow our feelings, our emotions, and our thoughts to overpower us when we know. I said something about darkness. Darkness can cause your vision to be, impaired or, blocked. Not your vision, your sight, rather. It can cause your sight to be affected, but not your vision. Because when you know, and and you can stay the course, you always come out on the other side smelling like a rose. But we get distracted because of fear and worry, and there's a reward. Jacqueline, hey Jacqueline, hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in. I'm about to go off, but I've got something that I put together a little while ago that's going to lend itself to what I'm saying. And then again, in a nutshell, it's not easy to do the right and the best thing. It's not easy to allow our feelings, our emotions, our thoughts, and especially our ego to be at rest, to do the right and the best thing. But if we can do that, there's a reward, and that's what I want to encourage myself. And if you can get something out of it, then so be it. Find a way, whatever it takes. Meditate, get some rest, go on vacation. By all means, don't drink or do drugs, to get away from problems, but do what you have to do to find that place of rest and peace, because there's something about knowing versus feeling, thinking, and or believing. And when you know something, you can't be distracted. And I know it's easy. I'm saying, you just can't be. Well, I empathize with people who have struggles, getting on the right track. But I just want to say, don't give up. Keep trying. Be patient with yourself. Try to listen to people who are mean and nasty telling you to just shut up and get over it, just because they probably mean good. We just can't hear it. We're not on that frequency when a bark is louder than a bite. Sometimes we can hear a dog and be afraid, and the dog is nowhere near. But that's what things do. That's what distractions do. They get you off course. And you can't be yourself when you're not on course. I'm a witness to it, but I will sit here and say at this very moment, I have overcome some psychological, challenges as it relates to distractions as of late. And I'm grateful that I'm on a new road to healing. And I feel good about it. Looking forward to some new things in the new year. And, as my life coach told me, you always start out the new year with just whatever. Anyway, I'm going to go. I'm going to take a short break, and I'll be right back with something I want you to check out. It's cool. Bishop T.D. Jakes, thank you for the message that I'm going to share coming up next. Watch and listen. Find someone you need to say, I love you too. Don't just say it. Show it, mean it, and let it be true.
Mighty horn music. Mighty horn music.
As time draws near and you plan your social events, call Mighty Horn Music for a party you and your friends will never forget. From banquets, receptions, family reunions, and church functions to birthday, executive, or private parties, Mighty Horn delivers. Event packages include live musicians, psalmists, comedians, clowns, and a karaoke show that's guaranteed to make you laugh. Mighty Horn Music specializes in providing a variety of music to keep your guests going for hours. Mighty Horn Music. Let us create a custom sound for your special event. From start to finish, Mighty Horn Music will plan your theme, decorate, cater, and entertain your guests with class and style. This year, make your events live with Mighty Horn Music. Call 786-487-7338, 786-487-7338, or log on to mightyhornmusic.com and let's party.
No matter how blessed you've been, no matter how successful, no matter how accomplished, no matter how healthy, no matter how fruitful you are, somewhere in your life, you are either being attacked or about to be attacked in some area of your life. And God says, I'm going to bless you, but you've got to dress for the battle while you receive the blessing. With every blessing, there is a battle. I would venture to say the greater the blessing, the greater the battle. The enemy would not send that level of battle against you if there were not that level of blessing before you. The level of battle you face is an indication of the level of blessings that you stand to receive. And he said, if you're going to hold on to what I have given you, because I have given you some things that you are yet to possess. And in order to possess what I've given you, to take it out of the euphoria of an idea and snatch it into the realm of a possession, you're going to have to stand, having done all to stand. The enemy comes against your freedom to convince you that you don't have what God has already released you. The Bible calls his attack imaginations. You're being fought by imaginations, shadows, and ghosts. Some of you are stressed to death over what ifs and maybes. You're being stabbed by suppose. You lay in the bed wrestling with ghosts. Most people are living their lives from a heart place and not a head place. They are so engrossed with what the heart feels that they have not covered what the head thinks. Most people are governed by their emotions. They're having a heart experience in a head fight. You will never win a battle if you're having a heart experience in a head fight. You're telling the enemy how you feel has nothing to do with what you know. And if you're going to deal with a knower, never approach a knower with feelings. A person who moves totally out of their emotions is exempt from the greater opportunity than life, because you will forfeit what God has given you because of how you feel. God did not promise you that your feelings would line up with the facts. And to have to babysit your feelings, when I don't have time to babysit your feelings, I need you to correct the problem and go back to work. It's not personal if you do it right. But let me tell you, the devil is not fighting you over your feelings. He is fighting you over your head. He is giving you images and imaginations and threats of disaster to send your head into a panic mode so that you will digress mentally from the leadership that the rest of you needs. It has to come from the facts and not the feelings. Not one time do you hear Jesus say, I'm so hungry, devil. I'm so hungry. This is one time, let me turn this stone to bread. Because a brother like me got all kind of rumblings going on in my stomach like here. I've been out here 40 days. Devil, now, you know 40 days. You ought to have a little compassion on me. He did not approach the devil with feelings because the devil has no compassion. Why are we loyal to ineffectiveness? We date effectiveness, but we marry ineffectiveness. So if I was the devil, I'd do everything I could to keep your head foggy, to keep your mind all tied up, to keep your emotions governing your head to the point that you can't even think a clear thought. The slave masters knew it. You can teach the slaves how to do anything but read. Why was reading forbidden? Because if you got it in your head, you could get it in your life. They said our change cannot hold an informed head. Today I want to talk to you about the courage to change course. The courage to change course. It has been said about people that when people know better, they do better. And that sounds really, really profound. But over the years of my life, I wonder, is it true? Because there's a difference between knowing better and doing better. I know I don't have no business with dessert. I said I was gonna watch my carbs. I know I should get up every morning early and exercise about 5:30 and jog about 3 miles. I know better. I know what to eat and what not to eat. I know what is healthy, what is not healthy. I have been informed. I have been educated. I know not to eat those oxtail. I know. While it is impossible to do better if you don't know better, it's impossible. You can't do better if you don't know better. Often we still know better than we do. The truth of the matter is, doing better isn't always easy. The people we admired the most were people who put into action what they knew, who grew and changed and made corrections. They became our heroes because they had the courage to change course. All of the people that we highlight in our country and our history are people who had the courage to change course. Corrections can often have severe consequences. Corrections can often have severe consequences. Getting it right can have severe consequences. Because see, you make a decision at one stage in your life, and then later you know better, but you're already in the situation. The reason it becomes so difficult to get out is because sometimes it's become so complicated. It requires humility that some people lack the ability to quiet their ego enough to achieve the ability of change, because sometimes you have to go against what you said at this stage to correct where you are at that stage. And until you become strong enough to admit, yes, I said it, but I was wrong. I'm wondering if there's anybody in here who's ever been loyal to a mistake, and it was a mistake, and you knew it was a mistake, but you counted up the cost to fix it, and you decided you would just take the easy way out and live with it. I don't care how much you praise the Lord, until you correct your past decisions, you are not going to get the breakthrough that you need. And you know what it takes to fix it, and you know the discipline that's required to get your life together, but it's not always true that people who know better do better. Have you ever grown up and rethought your choices? Have you ever got more information and rethought your choices? Have you ever looked back at your life in retrospect and found yourself in situations that were based on bad information, immature decisions, selfishness, emotionalism, pride, discontentment, and restlessness, and now you're more mature and you're wiser and you wonder what you could have been had you started earlier on the right road? I wish maybe it's somebody that's streaming that needs what I'm talking about, and you lay down at night and live with the frustration, wonder what would have happened had I not got myself stuck. So you give up when you can't get up, and you decide to yourself, maybe I just have to make the best of a bad situation. I guess I'm really talking about making a decision to live with regret. Have you ever been in a situation where either decision you made is going to cause pain? It's not like you get it right and it stays the way you left it. Life keeps changing, and as life keeps changing and seasons keeps changing and circumstances keep changing, you got to be flexible enough to change on a dime and switch this way and turn back this way. And if you don't make the right switch at the right time, you find yourself stuck. The courage to change course is all about circumcision. And I'm going to tell all the women, so you can know and understand this, circumcision hurts. Not a little bit. A whole lot. Changing course hurts. There's no way for you to make significant change and not hurt. This is going to hurt. And yet, in order to get his house together, he had to have the courage to change course. In fact, in all fairness, I have to give Sarah some credit. Sarah is making a correction because she is no longer the woman she was before. I want to talk to some people who are no longer the woman you were before. And yet you've got kids angry with you about what you did before. You've got spouses angry with you over what you did before. That ain't just for women. Let's talk to some men who have got some wives that are angry with you over what you did before. And the kids don't like you over who you were before. The problem is people never give people room to change, to grow, to evolve. And even though we are Christians, we are the world's best at alienating people over what they did before. And it takes courage to correct or to change course. Understanding is important to bring about change. You can't just look at it from your perspective. See, until we take responsibility for the mistakes we made, we cannot change course. As long as you push it off and act like it was just them, and you tell the story where you are always the hero, in order to have correction, you have to have the challenging responsibility of trusting God to handle our mistakes. God says, my grace is sufficient for your mistakes. My grace is sufficient. You don't have to live in this chaos. Your spirit has been in a state of constant disruption because you won't change course. And I don't want you to live in this constant, chaotic, stressful environment of forlornment because your mistakes and your miracles are cohabitating in the same space. All I need from you is the courage to change course. If you don't change course, you're going to mess up your destiny. If you don't change course, you're going to spend the latter years miserable because you won't own up to your mistakes and acknowledge that you were wrong, and you won't fix it. And all the dancing and all the shouting and all the giving you do over top of it will not take away from the fact that you still need the courage to change course. You know what they say? The definition of lunacy is to continue to do the same thing, expecting a different result. You can't be the woman you want to be and the woman you used to be at the same time. And you know that now. But the problem is you just can't bring yourself to change course because of all the people that it would hurt for you to change. And how long will you make those people more important than your destiny? You've been in bondage. You can't even be your best self. You can't do your best work. You can't be who you were created to be because you're stuck in a situation that you helped to create, and you're guilty. And you feel guilty, and you overcompensate because you're guilty, and you're in this situation because you're guilty, and you're stuck because either way you move, somebody's going to get hurt, and if you don't move, it's going to be you. And you got to decide. Are you willing to have a little momentary discomfort to be where you are called to be? Or are you so concerned about the disruption that your change creates that you're willing to be a prisoner in your own life the rest of your life?
SWYM. Swim. Say what you mean. As much as this information is designed to bring awareness to how we listen, hear, and process, it is also a form of therapy. The little person inside of all of us needs to be heard. As adults, even listening to ourselves is a form of healing, strengthening, and growth. It's okay to speak, talk, express yourself, and be heard, even if you're the only listener. If our testimony does anything at all for anyone else, That makes the continued effort worth the time. Get the words out. You'll feel better, and that's a promise. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
You know, sometimes it seems like all the good times are gone. But you got to keep on searching. You got to keep on keeping on. Keep on keeping on. For example, take me, stand right here today. I would not be here with you if I believed the things that the people say. You got to keep on searching. Keep on searching. Keep it on the cool side. Keep on looking around.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.